Very good. I extend a warm welcome to friends in various countries and greetings to you from Jamestown, New York. My name is Nelson and I will be presenting today along with two students from Jamestown Community College, recent students from Jamestown Community College. Hayate Ishida just graduated and he is from Japan. And Veronica Benini is with us as well. Veronica is from Italy. Our topic today is what is a community college, which a community college is a relatively American concept, but we want to help you understand why you might consider a community college if you are considering studying in the United States. So we're going to begin with that very big question, what is a community college? And then we'll talk about the reasons you might want to explore a community college. And Hayate and Veronica, I will call on them to share some of their experiences as we go through the presentation. So again, it is a different kind of college, but there are very many good reasons that you should be considering a community college if you are planning to study in the United States. The first thing I would like you to know about a community college is the degree that we award here. Many of you are planning to earn a bachelor's degree, perhaps a master's, or even a doctorate. At Jamestown Community College, or any community college in the United States, the degree we award is called an associate degree. And it is the first 2 years of a bachelor's degree program. So the first half of a bachelor's degree program. So that really opens up the question, why would you start here and just get the first half? What do you gain by doing that? And then you have to go somewhere else to get the second half. Those are the reasons that we want to share with you today so that you understand why that would be a very good idea to consider. So again, it is a 2-year program and you do the first 2 years of a bachelor's degree. The same 2 years you would do at another college or university in the United States. So welcome to Jamestown Community College. And I will explain to you a little bit, and I know you all have a basic understanding of the geography of the United States, but even my friends Hayate and Veronica, when they were in their home countries before they came here, it was good to visualize where this community college is located. And there are community colleges all over the United States. So you can see from the screen that we are located in the southwest corner of New York State. And this next slide gives you a better picture. New York State is a very big state, and this is where we are, Jamestown. But I know from watching television and the movies and reading the news, you quite often hear about New York City instead, and all the images of the big city in New York State, New York City, which is down here. So we are all the way across the state in Jamestown. It actually takes about 8 hours to drive to New York City. It's a great visit destination for our students to experience the big city, and many of you are perhaps from big cities. But many community colleges across the country are located in small communities. The other important thing to know about this community college is that we are part of a college and university system. We call it SUNY, S-U-N-Y, the State University of New York. It is actually the largest university system in the United States. There are 64 campuses, and we all award the same credits, SUNY credits. So you are earning credits from the State University of New York when you earn credits at Jamestown Community College. But again, there are 64 campuses of SUNY across New York State. We are the ones that are far in the southwest corner. So that's a little bit about who we are. Now let's talk a little bit about why this would be a good option for you to consider enrolling at a community college. First of all, it is a great place to learn. Jamestown, again, in southwestern New York, is a small, safe city. And I think Veronica and Hayate would agree, this is a small city. But it is a safer environment. So many international students, again, see the CSI programs and the movies with all the things that go on in the big cities in the United States. And quite often parents say, oh my gosh, you know, that is a very big city. I don't know if that's a good place to start because there are so many distractions and there are other things. It's not perhaps as safe and comfortable as a small city would be. So we are a small city and we have a lot of, as you can see in the pictures, a lot of beautiful countryside. The seasons are beautiful here. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. Yes, we get a lot of snow in the winter, as my friends will attest, but we have beautiful summer days and spring days and fall days as well. Community colleges tend to be smaller institutions. We have at Jamestown Community College approximately 2,600 students, but they are spread out over various locations. So it's very small and comfortable. The students to faculty ratio, and this is an important number if you are thinking about college in the United States. Here at this college, it is 16:1. So for every 16 students, there is one faculty member. That is incredibly important when you begin your college journey, that you are in an environment where you are known by name, not number. You will get to build a lot of relationships with faculty members and other students because it is such a small, close environment. I'm going to pause for a moment and ask my friends Veronica and Hayate to comment, if you will, about that small environment and the ease with which you get to know people, to build relationships when you came here. Veronica, would you like to go first if we can unmute you?
Sure, absolutely. Well, it's very true. What you said, it's so true. You get to meet so many people and you know your teachers by name and they know you by name. So I was very close to a couple of my teachers and I'm still in contact with them. I still talk to them. They still email me and I made a lot of friends, like even Hayate. We studied two different things. Like we had completely different majors, but we were able to meet each other and we had so many opportunities to work together. We were in student senate. Like it's so good to know people on campus, to know your teachers, to know your faculty members and all the staff that will help you and definitely make your experience a lot better and more interactive, I would say.
And Veronica, where is your home in Italy? What city?
It's called Porretta Terme. It's in the province of Bologna.
Okay, in case any of your neighbors are with us today. Thank you. Thank you. Hayate?
Yeah, and I would add to that, that we get to make a really deep connection with people. Again, I know professors by name, professors know me, my names, and I just graduated on May, but there's professors that I still talk with, chat with, email with, and so that's a really nice thing, I think, because when you go to big schools, like when there's, some schools have like 10,000 students, and when that happens, well, the professors don't really know you, and you don't really get a chance to go talk to them. But in JCC, I go talk to professors through office hours, for example. We get to discuss about what we learned in class, but also we get to talk about things that I'm dealing with outside of class and like my life decisions, my career decisions and all that. So I think JCC has the perfect population, not too small, but also not too big. And I think we got the sweet spot right there. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And again, it is we want you to feel supported, particularly in those first 2 years when you start here. We also want you to know that we have a lot of modern facilities. And again, even though we're small, we have some outstanding facilities. The building you're seeing here in the top here is our Science Center, which is a wonderful learning environment for green technology. Environmental science is one of the programs that we offer there. And you will find, you can see the solar panels. We have geothermal wells and all sorts of exciting facilities. You're also seeing our outdoor site here. It's a beautiful campus, all seasons, and our recently renovated dining facilities. So you will not be sacrificing anything by coming to a community college. We are very fortunate to have excellent facilities to offer you when you get here. And you will find that, as Veronica and Hayate were saying, the classrooms here are small. Many times if you go to a large college or university in the United States and you go into your first year English class or mathematics class, you may find 100, 150 students here in that case. Not at this college. At this college, you will find perhaps 21, 22, 24 students, or maybe even 10, but you will find a very small classrooms, comfortable settings, and that's important to start where you are supported and get the attention to learn. Hayate referenced office hours. All of our professors, in addition to spending time in the classrooms and laboratories with you, are required to be available to you various hours during the week so you can seek extra help, extra assistance to make sure that you are learning well. When we talk about a great place to learn, we do have at this community college over 60 different academic programs to choose from. And Hayate, could you comment on, you are a social science major, correct?
Yep, I am. Mm-hmm.
And could you talk about some of the classes you took here?
Oh, wow.
Your favorites?
Yeah, I mean, I took various classes. I'm a sociology major, so I took sociology classes every semester. But I also took psychology classes. I also took anthropology classes, math classes. I took biology, physics, and I mean, I took classes from just about everything. Obviously, my favorite is sociology, but I think it's really nice that you don't have to focus on one specific program or major, but you get to learn from various fields. And I think that's really important, especially the first 2 years in college. Yeah.
Okay, and Veronica, could you tell us about some of your favorite classes?
Sure. So I was a business administration major. So I took macroeconomics, microeconomics, marketing and accounting, all those classes. I loved marketing. That's one of the classes that I really loved. But I also really enjoyed the relationship that I created with my English teacher. So I loved my English classes. And as Hayata said, I also took like biology and statistics and like different classes that history was another one of them that actually gave me a really wide perspective on like my study career.
And I neglected to ask the two of you what your career goals are, what you would like to do in the future. Do you have an answer to that question?
Not a clear one as far
And
as,
that's okay.
yeah. I mean, I know that I'm interested in that field. I just don't really know the exact and like specific job that I will want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's one of the, little issues international students have because we know that there's so many opportunities out there, we can't seem to choose. Like for me, I don't know if I'm going to work in Japan or if I'm going to work in the US or maybe in Canada. I mean, there's way too many opportunities. So, yeah, once I get to a 4 year, I'll have to think more about that. But yeah.
Yeah, and that is another advantage of a community college because it allows you to explore different areas if you are at all undecided. Maybe it's going to be business, but you don't know if you want to be in accounting or marketing. But it allows you to sample different courses and really find your passion and your strengths. And I have to brag about these two students. Before we began the webinar, I did just take a quick peek at your grade reports, and these are two amazing students. Regardless of what courses they chose, they succeeded. They worked very hard, and I'm very, very proud of them. But the options here are very broad ranging, from manufacturing and engineering and welding to healthcare programs. We have an outstanding nursing program and a tremendous reputation for nursing. My son attended here and he studied music. There are arts, all sorts of things that you can explore at a community college, and in particular at this community college. It is also a great place to be active. And my two friends here who are smiling because they see one of these photos in particular chose to be very active. It is important to work hard, to study, but you learn by doing other things too, by being active in clubs and organizations, by being involved in music and theater, being involved in sports. Many of the students who join us from other countries are here because they're very interested in athletics. In particular, we have many soccer players who come to us, or football players, as perhaps you call it in your country, who come here to be part of those teams. But we also have swimming and diving and baseball and volleyball and golf. So a lot of athletic opportunities if you choose to do that. One of our students a few years ago came from Japan, if you remember So, who is with us, and he decided he wanted to try something new, so he joined the wrestling team. He had never wrestled before in his life, but he really enjoyed that experience. It was an opportunity to try something new. And I do want to draw your attention to this photo in particular, because both Veronica and Hayate are in that photo, along with Anna, who is a student of ours from Russia. And before the pandemic, they tested out their talents and were part of our music theater production of kind of a classic American musical called West Side Story, which is actually based on Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. And Veronica had some acting and music experience before, but Hayate, this was your very first experience in theater. Am I correct about that? And you want to comment about that?
Yeah. So I've never danced on stage. I've never sang in front of people. I've never done any sorts of theaters in my entire life. But then, coming to JCC, I knew that there was this opportunity. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just try this out. And it was one of the best experiences that I had in JCC. I also performed in the next musical, which was called La Cage aux Folles. And after that, because of COVID, I haven't been able to go up on stage, but still, it was an amazing experience. Yeah.
And Veronica, do you want to comment on your theater experience and tell us what other things you were involved in here as well?
Absolutely. Well, starting from that musical, oh my God, that was so much fun. It was amazing. All the like other actors, they were amazing actors, and I actually got to learn a lot more than I knew before I got there. I did theater in high school, so I was already interested in that field. But I also took a piano class. So that's another thing. I played guitar my whole life, but then I got there and I was like, let's try something new. So I started playing piano. And then if it wasn't for COVID, I would have played volleyball for JCC. But then everybody knows COVID just hit very hard. But yeah, it was so much fun. I'm sure Hayate agrees with me, but it was so much fun. We had an amazing time.
Yeah. And again, one of the things about going to college is, yes, you learn about sociology, you learn about business, but you also learn about yourself and where your strengths are and your interests are and your ability to connect with other people and build relationships. And clubs and organizations and theater and sports and music are all wonderful ways to find that common ground and build relationships. We have what we call an activity hour on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 12 to 1 p.m. in our student union, which is this location here on the screen. And there are no classes, so students gather in the student union for different programs and activities. Sometimes they're very serious topics, sometimes it's light entertainment. We always have in November, December, an international fair, so our international students can share their cultures. But there's so many opportunities to connect with people and share. The photo here that I happen to be in is a visit to Niagara Falls, which we are very close to, one of the wonders of the natural world. So we always make sure that our international students have a chance to visit there. But again, those are enrichment opportunities. And I think both Hayate and Veronica, were you involved in student government as well? So opportunities to improve your leadership skills and test your abilities to be leaders. It is amazing to see how engaged our international students can be with leadership. This year, our student government was actually chaired by a student from Russia who stayed in Russia and learned entirely online. Ekaterina, Kate, chaired the student senate. And next year, one of our international students, also a young woman from Russia, is going to be our student trustee. Angelika is going to be the student trustee. So just phenomenal opportunities to lead. And when you lead, you grow at the same time. So much to do here. I also want to comment on, it's a great place to live. I already talked about the community, but we have really, I think, outstanding residence hall opportunities that are very affordable. Each student is assigned to a suite. The suites include 4 private bedrooms. Hayate is sitting in one of those right now. And you have the bedroom all to yourself. You share a bathroom with one other student, and then you share a living space and a kitchen. All of the residence hall situations come with a limited meal plan. This fall, it will be 7 meals a week. You can buy more in the dining hall if you choose, but you have this wonderful kitchen, so you can do your own cooking. And we were very fortunate. I know Veronica made some amazing Italian food while she was in the kitchen there. And I know, Hayate, you have been a resident assistant. Veronica, were you also a residence assistant? Could you comment about the residence experience?
Hayate, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I've been living in the dorms for quite some time now, for almost 2 years. I was a resident assistant at one point. I'm a resident assistant now too. Resident assistant is basically a student leader in the dorms. You're responsible for, um, well, I'll let Veronica comment on that. But yeah, so I remember when I was in high school, I used to search a whole lot about colleges throughout the United States, and I've realized that it's very rare to have a kitchen in the dorms. Most schools don't have a kitchen; they just have a microwave. But I cook every day. I think I cooked like fried rice yesterday and some spaghetti. So I use it pretty frequently too. But that's nice. And again, you have your personal bedroom. That's also pretty rare, apparently. And that's really nice. I've really really enjoyed the past 2 years living in the dorm, which is why I'm staying in the dorm for the summer as well. But yeah, Veronica.
So yeah, I was a resident assistant as well, but just for one semester. I mean, it was like 4 months because of COVID. Um, but yeah, like the role of the resident assistant, as Hayata said, is like a role model kind of thing for students, and also a connection between students and the the resident staff. So if you need something for your room, you go to the resident assistant. If there's a problem with your roommate, you go talk to the RA. If you have any kind of problem, even like personal problem, and you just need someone to talk to, there's the RA that can take some time and talk to you about your own problems. And as Ayata said, it's very rare to have your own room, especially for the first 2 years of college in America. I've seen rooms that had like 3 beds and were the size of like a bathroom. They were so small, and I would say uncomfortable, but I never really tried them out. So I don't know, but having your own bedroom and a bathroom that you share with only one person, it's awesome. And especially the bathroom is in your apartment. And it's not at the end of the hall that like you need to take your bag with you, your towels, and so it's so much more comfortable. So awesome.
Yeah. We have a phrase in the United States, we call it adulting, and part of adulting is learning to cook. We also have laundry facilities right in the residence halls. So some students, American students, many of them don't know how to cook, don't know how to do laundry. So that's part of growing and learning as well. Veronica and Hayate didn't mention, but I will note, one of the benefits of being a resident assistant, if you are hired and selected to do that, is that your room is provided to you at no charge. And that's how you trade the work that you do. In addition, you will help organize some activities, some game nights, some different activities, so that there are things going on in the residence halls themselves that you can be part of. So there is responsibility, but there is reward as well, in that if you are hired as a resident assistant, you will not have to pay for your room, which is already very affordable. I do want to talk about, and I saw a question come up about transferring your credits. That is exactly the role of a community college, is to earn transferable credits, so that you don't have to stop when you earn an associate degree, but you take those first 2 years, freshman and sophomore, and then you become a junior at another college because you already have the first year. So you become a third-year student at another college. That's one of the advantages of being in the State University of New York, for example. Not everyone in the United States will recognize the name Jamestown Community College, but everyone in the United States will recognize SUNY, State University of New York. And the credits you earn here are State University of New York credits, whether you take them and use them in New York State, or you go to one of the other states, or you go perhaps to your home country with your credits. I do need to congratulate my friend Hayate because his transfer plans are in place. Would you care to comment on where you'll be transferring, Hayate?
Yeah, so I'm going to be transferring to a school called Case Western Reserve University. It's in Cleveland, Ohio. I saw a question regarding if the credits transfer to different states, and yes, it does. And most of I haven't received the final credit transfer thing, but yeah, most of my credits will be transferred, and yeah.
And that is a larger college as well, certainly a larger city, yes?
Yeah. Cleveland, Ohio is definitely a bigger city than Jamestown, so that is exciting. But yeah, it is a bigger school, not too big though. So yeah.
And you will continue to study social sciences, sociology?
Actually, I'm going to change my major to communication sciences. So that's one of the things about transferring. You don't have to transfer with the major you have a degree in. I have an associate degree in sociology, but I'm going to change my major to communication sciences, which is part of social sciences. And yeah.
And we have counselors on staff and advisors. Every student who is here, Hayate, Veronica, every student has an advisor who is from that student's major, from the program, who will give you advice not only about courses, but about transfer options and what might be a good fit for you. So you have partners who will support you in this experience when you start looking for transfer colleges and universities, thinking about what courses to take. You don't go this alone. We also have a staff in our global learning office. Hayate and Veronica work very closely with Jennifer in our office. Obviously, I got to know them as well. But we build a supportive family atmosphere so that you always feel connected to resources. And even when you leave us, and we're sad to see people leave us, I'm so glad we had that farewell dinner at the buffet before COVID hit so we could say goodbye to so many people. But when you leave us, we want to help on your next part of your journey as well, which is the transfer path. Another reason that many international students think about community colleges is it's really the greatest value as far as affordability in the United States. Community colleges in the United States are about half the cost of another college or university. Every international student who comes to this college gets a scholarship of some kind. Definitely a scholarship to support tuition, but also if you choose to live in the residence halls, you will get a very nice scholarship to help you with your living expenses as well. So that the cost here for a year after the scholarships is about $16,000 US dollars per year. That's with the scholarships adding in. So it's far more affordable. I hope, Hayate, you're getting some good scholarships from Case Western, but I know that other colleges and universities in the United States are considerably more expensive. So that is a very good reason to consider starting here. Then you can save your money or perhaps your family's money and spend it on the next 2 years instead. And at the end of the 4 years, you have the same bachelor's degree from the students who have been there for all 4 years. But since you did 2 here and 2 there, you have far less debt. You got the same product, the same degree, but you saved so much money in the process by choosing this option. So you can see there are many good reasons for looking at a community college as your option. And I want to stress with you that you are welcome here. We have a number of international students, but you will find here that you are not going to be one of 75 Italian students or 29 Mexican students. You may be the only, as Veronica was, the only Italian student that year. And Hayate, I think this year, maybe two Japanese students. But the good thing is, if you wanted to be in a college with 75 Italian students, you probably should consider staying in Italy because you want to get to know people from other cultures. You want to get to know Americans, or in this case, an Italian student meeting a Japanese student and vice versa. That is the goal, is to have multicultural experiences. And you will find that here. You will find that very welcoming. Perhaps Hayate and Veronica, would you comment on getting to know American students? Were they inquisitive? Did they ask you questions about your culture and why you were here?
I get asked a lot about why I'm in Jamestown and what led me here, which, yeah, I don't know if I should also comment on that, but.
Yeah, I mean, but American students welcomed you?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot of, because the population isn't too big, it's much easier to make new friendships, I think. For me, I made a lot of American friends through the musical, so that was a great opportunity. But I would also say that I had a really multicultural experience. A lot of my friends are internationals. I have a friend from Thai, from Kenya, from Korea, from China. So I get to learn more about different cultures too. So that's a really nice thing, I think. Yeah.
I absolutely agree with what Hayate said. It gives you so many points of view on things because you have such a multicultural experience. And also Americans are so curious to know everything about your home country. They ask you questions. They assume you follow certain stereotypes, but then you're like, no, it's absolutely not like that. So you can actually explain the reality of your home country to Americans so they can get a multicultural experience as well.
And even in the residence halls, it is our goal to mix you up. And again, not unless you request it. For example, we have had a good number of soccer players from Australia, but we don't necessarily say, okay, all of the soccer players are in the same room or even in the same building. That isn't the goal. You could stay in Australia and do that, but the goal here is to get to know other people. Again, if that's your choice, you and your best friend are coming together and you want to share a room, we will allow that to happen. But we really, prefer to provide opportunities for you to get to know each other and make connections. That is so important. Again, it's learning about yourself as well. And that is my final slide. So I don't know, I will call on Giovanni or Federica from Doxity, how you would like us to handle questions at this point.
Yeah, sure. So thank you so much for Nelson, Veronica, and Ayat taking us in this wonderful journey in the JCC universe. So let's move to the question. I know you already replied to some of those, but we can add something more. So, for instance, talking about the scholarship provided for international students, are those covering just the taxes for tuition fees, or even any help for accommodation or travel expenses, something else?
Yeah, again, there are two scholarships for international students. One helps with tuition and fees, and the other helps with the housing expenses. And the housing expense is the bigger of the two scholarships. It actually reduces the cost so that when an international student comes into the residence hall, he or she pays the same cost as an American student. So that is very big. It helps in both regards. There are also opportunities for students to earn money working on campus. And again, we talked about the resident assistant job, which is working, but you don't actually get paid. You get your room for free. But I know, Veronica, did you work on campus when you were here?
Yes, I did. I worked as a scorekeeper for the volleyball games and basketball games. And then I was about to actually get paid for an internship, but then COVID. So you have a lot of opportunities to actually earn your money and try and pay for your college experience.
And Hayate, could you talk about your job on campus?
Yeah, so I started working at the library last semester, and I'm still working through the summer too. And I also, for July, I'm going to be working with high school kids for a camp that's going to be paid. And so, yeah, I think there is a lot of working opportunities out there too.
We also hire students as what we call student ambassadors, which become tour guides for the campus. That last photo you saw, actually a couple of the photos where the students had the green and gold scarves, the kind of the Harry Potter look, if you will, those were ambassadors. So there are a lot of opportunities to get some financial assistance with your programming. I do see a question from Matteo about the mechanical technologies and engineering science programs. And are they similar to mechanical engineering? Exactly. The engineering science program is designed as the first 2 years of an engineering degree that you could take in all kinds of engineering directions. We transfer many of our engineering students to the State University of New York at Buffalo or Rochester Institute of Technology, but it is great preparation. The mechanical technology is also great preparation for a career in mechanical engineering.
Oh, that's great. Talking about other majors and focuses, Jimmy was asking us, is there anyone else to find out what is the more appropriate measure for me? So I would like to add, is there any popular majors in the college, some that is the most chosen by students?
Well, it's difficult because to say what the most popular are. Business is very popular. Actually, the two represented here are very popular, business and social science. Teacher education is very popular as well. There is great demand for teachers in the United States right now and perhaps elsewhere in the world. So we have many future teachers who begin here. Many go on to become principals and superintendents and do great things as well in education. The natural sciences, biology, chemistry, we have many students who will begin here and then go on to become physicians or pharmacists, chiropractors. There's really so many possibilities, but I would say business and social sciences, actually, the two represented here are probably very close to the top of the list in terms of popularity. And there's always someone available to assist you and help you think through those things.
And if I can add something really quickly, you can change your major very easily. So if you start as a business administration major and you're like, oh my God, I hate it, I don't like it at all, I just want to change it, you can do it like very quickly, very easily. There's no problem doing that.
So that's great. If I can add to this question, another question, how many years are needed to get a certificate from JCC?
Again, the primary outcome is the 2-year degree, the associate degree, but we also have certificates, which are actually 1/2 of the associate degree. So they would be 1 year of study. So for example, we have a certificate in welding, 1 year of study. We also have a degree in welding, which would be 2 years. We have a degree in entrepreneurship, which would be 1 year, but we have a full business degree, which would be 2 years. So there are some 1-year programs as well. And a number of our international students choose to come for a single year.
Thank you. That's great. So let's come back to question about other activities rather than studying, like outdoor activities. Someone, as you already told us, you have many activity, club, music, theater, and outdoor activities. But maybe we can also ask, is there any college team, like competing with other college teams in other university and colleges?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, those intercollegiate sports, soccer, both men's and women's soccer is a big one. And we, I enjoy going over to see the soccer team. They did very well the last year they competed. We have a cross-country track team. We have increasing numbers of international students on our swimming and diving team. We have a beautiful swimming pool. It's indoors, beautiful physical education complex all around. And even if you are not an athlete, you can go over there and work out in the fitness center, get up early in the morning, whatever works for you to do those things. We have tennis courts. There's a beautiful park here. So there are a lot of opportunities to be outside. We actually have a beautiful baseball stadium just outside the campus. If you are in one of the residence halls in the top floor, south, where Hayate is living right now, if you're on the top floor, you get a good view right into watch the baseball games as well. So lots of outdoor activities, and that is a real plus. It's a lot of green space to enjoy.
If I could add to that, yeah, again, the swimming pool is available to everyone. So I used to swim just about every day before COVID, obviously, but that was nice. And a lot of the gym is available to the students as well. And there's a soccer field that I often go play soccer. So yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of activities you could do, and there's basketball team too. And again, as Veronica said, there's volleyball team. So there's just about every sports, I think. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thanks. So let's move to I guess the last questions we had. So is it possible, as you already told us, is there easy to move from this credit from the college to another university, or you need some specific procedures?
It is very easy to transfer the credits, again, because we are State University of New York. And that is also one of the reasons there are many community colleges, but we're part of the larger system. So that gives our students even greater advantage, but the credits transfer. Now, if you change your program, as many students do, Veronica said, for example, if you come in here and say, I'm going to be a music major, and in your first year, you take lots of music credits, but then you say, oh, you know what? I think I'd like to be a nurse instead. Well, then those credits aren't necessarily going to transfer with you. You may have to redo some of those things. But that is true if you go to a university and change your plans too. You will have to start over. But again, you won't have spent the same amount of money with that refresh, that restart. But it is, that's what's exciting. And I see the question, why would you start at this community college? Again, it's the cost, it's the environment, it's the size, it's the safety. But I really think when all is said and done, it is the people that you get to know along the journey with whom you build the relationships. I see a question about how many international students are there. I think in the fall semester, we will have approximately 75, 85, which will be a big number for us, but we will still know you by name. And that's what makes it special. You know, when I can run into Hayate or ran into Veronica on campus, you know, it's that connection, that greeting, people get to know you. So we have a small enough number, and that family feel. We have a beautiful office for our global study, our global learning, international students. And we have like a little living room area there, a couch, the green couch. And we have the coffee machine is there with sugar cubes for one student who liked those, and bottled water. And we will have snacks and treats because we try to build a family for our international students. And if there is one reason why this community college, instead of the many others, it is probably that we will try to give you the family feeling, that you have, that you missed. You had to leave your family on the other side of the world, but we are here for you.
Great. So is there the chance for any international student, I mean, for all international students to get the possibility to stay in the dorm?
I'm not sure I understood the question. Is about
Is
the dorm?
there, so is the dorm provided for all the international students, or by any chance someone has to look a private house?
Yeah, the dorm is available to all international students. Some students, domestic and international, choose to find their own apartments, but I think you lose a sense of the campus connectedness when you do that. You don't have the same family feel, but there is room for everyone, all international students in the dormitory. Yes.
So great. Okay, you already almost replied to this question, but I can ask also to Ayat and Veronica. So why choose JCC rather than any other college in the States?
Hayate, do you want to go first? Or I go first? You choose.
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
All right. Well, I chose JCC for two reasons, I guess. The first one is that it was definitely a lot cheaper than many other colleges. I would lie if I said, no, it's not for the cost at all. Well, that definitely, it's a big part of the decision. And also because it was close to where it was the previous year, because I was an exchange student. And then it was really close, so I got to actually visit the campus before I went and studied on campus. But it was also because of the large group of international students, which is not very common. When I first got there, we were, I think, 54, and it was already a really big number. But now that Nelson is telling us that next year there will be about 80 people, it's incredible. But that was a really big part of my decision. It was like, I will not be the only one international student. I will have people that know what I'm feeling, know what I'm going through, will have the same experience as mine. And I will have people to relate to in order to feel more accepted and more included in the actual college community.
Yeah, so my reasons are a little different from Veronica, I think. So a lot of international students at JCC actually come here because they knew the school from events like this, or they have a friend or family living by. At first when I was in high school, I was like, well, I want to do a study abroad. And so what country? Well, I wanted to go to the US. And so basically what I did, I looked into 48 states, obviously not Alaska and Hawaii, because they're not the mainland US, but I looked into all states in the US. And what I looked into was what state have a good transfer agreement. I really like the SUNY system because SUNY system is very special. They make sure that all credits transfer when you move on to a 4-year. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you could have 60 credits in community college and only 40 transfers, and that's not good because you have to take an extra semester. So I like the SUNY system, right? And there's 30 community colleges in the SUNY system, out of which I think around half has a dorm. And dorm is important for international students, I think, because of the college community, but also, especially when you come here the first time, you want a place where people can help support you and where you could live together with your roommate. And so I actually reached out to all 15 community colleges in the SUNY system. And Jennifer, who is responsible for international students here, she was really, really welcoming, and I really like that. And coming here, that's exactly what I'm feeling. Like the past 2 years, I really loved how JCC community is welcoming and supportive. They want the best for you. And that's really why JCC has been an amazing school for the past 2 years. And I'm really grateful that I made the decision to come here. So, yeah.
So great. Go, Veronica.
One little thing that if international students are not like don't really want to go into dorms and live there, at JCC you can actually live in an apartment that is really close to campus. It's a like apartment complex, and you will pay a lot less than looking for another apartment. So there are other like accommodations that JCC will offer to students other than the dorms.
Yep.
So great, a familiar, welcoming atmosphere, affordable cost, and a good system. Let's move to this question that is a bit expected. So, is the situation of COVID okay? Is it safe to travel? Are there any possibility to take class online?
Yes. The COVID situation in the United States is actually improving considerably. I don't know, Hayate, have you received a vaccine here?
I received both the vaccines on April and May, yeah.
Yeah, so our students were able to get vaccinated on campus. We did regular screening. So for this past year, we had students were able to choose some in-person classes, some online, some Zoom. But this coming fall, we will have even more in-person classes because we want to get back to the fall of 2019, which was such a wonderful start for us. So our goal is to return. Students coming to New York colleges will be required to be vaccinated. If they're not already vaccinated when they come from other countries, they will receive a vaccine when they arrive here, and have some testing required too. But yes, it is very much improved in the United States, particularly in New York.
So great. The situation is safer than expected. So I want to thank Veronica, Yad, and Dr. Garifi for being such helpful and details. And we are moving to the conclusion of the webinar. And if you have any other questions, feel free to type them down. And I want to thank you all for being here with us. And I remind you that you will receive an email, a thank you email, with all the contact of JCC for any further question, doubts, or curiosity, all the useful links you need to have any other information, and the recording of this webinar, as you can review the key topics we covered today. So if there is any other question, I want to say thank you all again. If you want to add something before to go, Nelson, Veronica, and Ayat, feel free to do it.
Yes, well, again, thank you to all for joining us. I know we have people to whom I might say grazie or gracias, whatever your language, or thank you. And to Hayate, is it arigato? No, is that it? Okay. Very good. So we are so eager to welcome you too, and look forward to the opportunity to continue our dialogue. It's been a pleasure to have you with us.
So I'm sure you will receive a lot of contacts because the interest was really high. And I want to say, see you to the next webinar. Have a great day, evening, afternoon for who's connected, and see you. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks to you.